One quiet morning at home, Emma stands by the window and coldly watches a cat struggling in the fountain outside. Without the slightest flicker of emotion for the poor animal, she simply closes the curtains and moves on with her morning. She marks a date on the calendar and carefully arranges her trophies, a perfect display of her obsessive orderliness and her pride in being so talented. At breakfast, she sits with her widowed father David and announces that her school will soon award a medal to the ideal student this month, and she is determined to win it. She slyly asks if David will keep dating, but insists it doesn't bother her. Just then, Aunt Angela arrives with news she's found a new nanny for Emma. Emma quickly rejects the idea, saying she doesn't want another nanny after her last one died, and demands Angela take care of her instead. But Angela already has a job and refuses. With chilling calm, Emma mentions the dead cat in the fountain, prompting David to go and remove its body. Later at school, chaos erupts when a wasp flies into the classroom. While the other children panic, Emma coolly traps it with a cup and sets it free through the window. Milo, shocked, asks how she managed it, and Emma casually explains as a nest in her backyard her dad taught her that wasps attack only when they feel threatened. Meanwhile, David interviews Chloe for the nanny job and hires her, with plans for her to start the following week. That afternoon, Emma overhears Milo admiring another girl's watch. When the girl goes outside to play, Emma deliberately makes her fall, making it look like an accident. She then helps her up in front of the teacher, all while slyly stealing the watch. That evening, she practices in front of her mirror, perfecting her sweet, innocent smile. The next morning, she dresses in her best outfit and asks her dad to help her look flawless. At the school ceremony, Milo wins the coveted merit medal. Emma claps along with everyone else, but her impatient foot-tapping betrays her simmering jealousy. Afterward, David chats with Mrs. Ellis, who praises Emma's brilliance but admits the girl seems to live in her own little world. At the after-party, Emma mutters to David that she should have been the one to win and lists all of Milo's flaws. David scolds her, so she fakes an apology and claims she's happy for her friend. Soon after, while the adults are distracted, Emma invites Milo to play in the forest. They reach the top of a cliff by the ocean, where Milo grows visibly uneasy as Emma's demeanor turns strange, almost threatening. Minutes later, Emma returns alone and urges David to leave. Moments later, kids scream Milo's body has been found on the shore. His parents desperately attempt CPR, but it's far too late. That night, David discusses the tragedy with Angela, not realizing Emma is secretly listening in. By morning, David asks Emma how she feels about Milo's death, but she coldly says there's nothing to talk about. Soon after, Chloe arrives and David gives her a tour before heading out. Later, Chloe finds medicine in the bathroom and quietly slips a few tablets into her pocket. That evening, as they watch a movie, Chloe calls the story stupid, an insult Emma does not take kindly to. Chloe asks about Milo's death, but Emma shrugs it off, saying it doesn't matter if she's sad because he's dead anyway. Chloe then casually asks if David has a girlfriend. Emma admits she disliked one woman he dated, so he ended the relationship. Finally, Chloe smirks and reveals she saw Emma stealing and plans to use it against her. Chloe catches Emma stealing and quickly turns it into blackmail. Now Emma stays up late, eating ice cream with cookies, making Chloe wait on her like a servant. At Milo's funeral, everyone is overcome with grief except Emma, who remains cold and dry-eyed. David speaks with Milo's devastated mother, who reveals the medal is missing and asks for any photos from the party. At home, David almost finds it under Emma's bed, but she distracts him just in time. While reviewing the pictures, he notices Emma's gaze fixed on the medal in every single shot. The next day, Mrs. Ellis arrives with a lawyer to speak with David. They explain someone saw Emma and Milo entering the woods together, which is suspicious, especially since Milo couldn't swim. Why would he climb that cliff? Chloe spots Emma secretly listening and instantly suspects she knows the truth. When the lawyer suggests Emma might have killed Milo, she suddenly shatters a cookie jar to divert attention. David tends to her minor cut as she denies everything, even accusing Alice of lying. She pretends to be heartbroken about Milo to throw them off her trail. Later, David catches Chloe in his bedroom. She claims she was just asking a question, but her sly demeanor says otherwise. The next morning, Chloe sweetly praises Emma when David asks about her, but it's clear she's more interested in David himself. That afternoon, Chloe takes Emma for a walk, warning her the police are closing in. Emma coldly reminds her about the stolen medicine and threatens to tell, but Chloe isn't scared. Instead, she paints a chilling picture of how murderers die in the electric chair. Not long after, Chloe searches Emma's room and finally finds the medal hidden under the bed, missing the detail that the wasp nest is gone. Meanwhile, Ellis drives away from work and is startled by a wasp in her car. She opens the window and keeps driving, never noticing the nest stuck to her seat. When David returns home, he doesn't spot the medal dangling from his bedroom lamp. Emma grabs it, but David catches her with something in her hands. Chloe overhears and claims she found it while cleaning. Emma lies, insisting she doesn't know how it got there. David presses her until she says she and Milo were playing in the forest, and he let her wear the medal. Then she claims she doesn't know what happened after. David scolds her for hiding it, explaining Milo's mother wanted to bury him with it. Emma scoffs, calling that a stupid idea. Later, David drives off, calling Angela to suggest Emma see a psychiatrist. On the road, he passes a car wreck without stopping. That night, he dreams of his pregnant wife and Ellis warning him about Emma, followed by a disturbing dream of Chloe's body floating in the fountain. At breakfast, Emma accuses Chloe of exposing her, and Chloe snaps back, calling her a little psycho. David orders Emma to return the medal. Milo's mother accepts it and breaks the news Alice died in a car crash caused by a wasp nest in her vehicle. Emma fakes sorrow and convinces David to go home. On the way, she cheerfully remarks this means they can stop talking about Milo forever. David later notices the missing wasp nest and begins researching sociopathic behavior in children. He tells Emma she'll be seeing a doctor, but fails to notice the smear of blood on her hand. At the appointment, David explains her lack of emotion, but the doctor insists there's nothing wrong. At home, Chloe openly flirts with David and mocks Emma. That night, while David is on a date, Chloe hears strange noises in the workshop. She becomes trapped inside and flames erupt. She burns to death, Emma watching from the window with chilling calm. David returns to find the workshop in ashes, and Emma tells police Chloe was smoking inside. When David demands the truth about Milo, Emma coldly admits she pushed him, not believing he couldn't swim. She also confesses to causing her first nanny's fatal fall and to orchestrating Chloe's and Ellis's deaths. She justifies it all by saying she didn't want a stepmother and that David failed to stop Chloe from stealing. The sheriff calls for an interrogation, but David delays and drives Emma to their lake house. He calls Angela and remembers the gun in the nightstand. That night, he dreams of Chloe's burnt body. The next day, ignoring more sheriff calls, David admits he no longer trusts his daughter. That night, Emma turns the gas valves on, but David wakes in time to stop her. Later at the lake, she says she wants to live with Angela. David secretly crushes sedatives into her drink, but she switches the mugs. David drinks them instead. Emma tries to shoot him but misses. She calls 911, claiming David wants to kill her, and locks herself in the bathroom. Brian, the housekeeper, arrives as police pull up. David tries to fire his gun, but Brian shoots first, killing him instantly. Brian tells police David was dangerous. Angela hugs Emma, who hides her triumph behind a sweet, satisfied smirk.